Welcome to Band Scamps, an in-depth look at albums and releases by West Michigan artists. Hosted by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez. This week on Band Scamps, Dan and Julio review Cut with Love by Dreaming of Paradise and Minutia by Serialism.
Welcome, Scamps, to another episode of Band Scamps Podcast. This is episode 12. My name is Dan Fisher. I'm with my co-host, Julio Gomez. Say hi, Julio.
Hi, Julio.
What's going on?
Nothing, man. Hanging out in the plant room, hanging out in the green room back here.
Nice.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing good. Did you have a good 420?
I did. Nothing too eventful. Just kind of hung out. It's kind of like less exciting as it becomes more mainstream of a holiday, you know?
For sure. I think the most exciting thing was the Derek Chauvin trial.
Yeah, that was an unexpected, pleasant surprise.
Yeah, so at least we have that.
Yeah.
That's, I love that. Just like, 420's over, man. It's too mainstream.
I don't know. It kind of seems that way. I was thinking about even like Amsterdam, how like at one point going there was like super cool because of like the weed thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now like we have a weed store like just right downtown we just go to.
Maybe 311 Day will become the new 420 Day.
Hopefully, God willing.
God willing.
Ja willing.
Where's Ja? All right, we have two albums today to review, as we do.
Yep, every time. It's been the two standard.
The two standard,
I think three is a little much.
3 is crazy, unless it's the one singles.
Yeah, I think we do more singles.
Yeah, we'll have another singles night.
Yeah, singles only. Hot singles in your area.
Ooh.
To all the bands, all the artists, thank you so much for sending in all of your releases. We're going to get down to them all. Do you want to just jump right in? I don't really have anything to say. Maybe we should just get right into it.
Let's get right into it.
Let's do it. We can keep some housekeeping for the middle section.
Yeah. All right.
So this is actually a release. I want to start off by saying that we kind of have been doing these in orders of submissions for the most part. There's been some that we kind of jumped around for our own reasons, but for the most part, they've been kind of in order. And this is one of the very first submissions we received when we created our email account, where we now receive submissions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is like the first one that we got along back when we created the email in January. So this is one of the early ones of the email address submissions, of which we get a lot now. So I think I'm pumped to jump into all these.
Yeah, I feel honored to finally do this one, honestly.
Yeah.
This first album is called Cut with Love by the band Dreaming of Paradise, and it came out February 5th of this year, 2021.
Wow, it just came out.
Fresh off the skillet. Is that a thing? The skillet?
Yep. So they must have submitted this before it was available.
Right. Yeah. This must have been like pretty. Yeah, they're just trying to get on.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get ahead of it. Apologies for not getting to it.
How do you feel about that? I guess it's proactive, you know. I don't know if we can guarantee that we're going to get your review out when it comes out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they weren't so far out because you said February, right?
That's right.
Okay. What first impressions?
First impressions is this is actually not what I expected at all.
Okay, let's hold on. Let's go to artwork. First impressions, including artwork.
Yes. Artwork is this space view of the moon.
Yeah, it's a moon plus the logo. The logo kind of seemed very 90s and kind of very like graphic design is my passion.
Yeah.
Kind of logo.
I've seen that font somewhere and I can't pinpoint where, I know that font.
It seemed excessively 90s.
Yeah.
Like bubbly, but like, I don't know, done on paint, you know?
Yeah, this could have been like a No Doubt album cover for some reason or something.
It reminds me of like a website like I would have had when I was like an Angel Fire website.
Yeah, Angel Fire, GeoCities, shout out GeoCities.
So, interesting album art. It's fine. It doesn't really stick out or anything, but definitely makes me think it's going to be spacey, right?
I don't know what I thought. I think the name kind of threw me off. Dreaming of Paradise, it sounded more like just an indie band kind of thing. I don't know.
Is Dreaming of Paradise the name of the band?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The album is called Cut with Love.
Okay. Yeah, Dreaming of Paradise. Yeah.
I was thinking, some kind of like maybe twee kind of indie, like
it does kind of seem like that to me. So let's jump right into the music. This first track is called The Future Sway.
Yeah, so, I turned it on and I was like, whoa, this is like, it comes in hard with these like super heavy synths.
Yeah, it is pretty heavy. What kind of music, like it comes in, there's synths, there's like drum machines, and there's some vocals, and a lot of effects over all these things. What kind of music would you say this is?
At first I was like, oh, maybe this is like an industrial record.
Yeah, it kind of did have that kind of industrial.
Yeah.
But what I kind of heard too was like as a music genre called darkwave. That I think that I don't really know what exactly constitutes that, but I think this would probably fit in that too.
That's what I kind of gathered as the record went on. It got a little more chill, and we'll get into that later. But also on the Bandcamp, I did see they list some genres.
Oh yeah,
and it did say dark wave on that, and that made more sense.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me at all. I have dark wave ! Right away.
Yeah,
and I also have seems a little homemade.
It does, but I think all things considered, production is pretty good.
Oh sure. At this point, and it seems like I don't know, with this like right off the bat, don't know what the rest of it sounds like. Like it seems kind of homemade, but I do have that a lot of this kind of music probably is like homemade, right? Like no one's like going into a recording studio to make this kind of music.
Right. This is pretty like easy music to make while at home. A lot of synths. Not a lot of miking things, just drum machines, just straight into the interface.
Yeah, it's mid tempo. It's kind of groovy. It's a lot of heavy synth and heavy distortion and overdrive, I guess you would call it.
Yeah,
like and when you said industrial, I think that is where you're getting that a lot too. And I think darkwave does draw a lot from industrial.
Yeah, I think like just from my inexperience with like darkwave and industrial music, I think industrial is just more like a blanket term for people like me who are not familiar with this type of music as much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I don't think, as someone who does know industrial music, I don't think this is not industrial music. I think you could call it that. But I think it's one of those almost at this point like a big like grandfather genre. There's a bunch of stuff that have spawned from it or have been mixed with it to make something else.
Totally.
So right off the bat too, I noticed there is some like songwriting in here. There's some melody.
There is some melody. I wish the vocals were louder.
Man, yeah. Right off
like
the
a
bat,
lot louder.
Off the bat, I absolutely 100%, and we're gonna get back to that a bunch of times.
Especially because it's like auto tune too, so it's like an instrument.
There is a bit of auto tune in here.
So it would have been really cool to get that melody to pop out more.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of use on auto tune on this track and on some of the rest of the album too.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, like, I have, like, this attempt at melody is really good, and this is actually a song you could sing to had you been able to hear exactly what the words were and exactly what the melodies are, or had it be loud enough to impact you where you remember it,
Exactly. Like, I know it had melody, but I can't pick it, I can't sing it now, I can't remember it at all. That's just too bad, because I think with this, another listen, you'd be like, oh yeah, this melody's cool.
Yeah, I listened to this whole thing twice, and there is a lot of that, but it is presented in a way that makes it hard to appreciate it in that way. Appreciate the songwriting. It seems like, well, let's keep moving on. So yeah, so I think we actually are going to have a lot to say about this record.
Yeah. Right to the next song, Skate.
I still have more on here.
Okay, sweet.
So genre wise, this reminds me a lot of Nine Inch Nails too. Reminds me a lot of Nine Inch Nails, and it's like that mixed with like developments in that genre since the late 80s, and we can get more than that. It's very fuzzy.
It's fuzzy. It's harsh, like kind of like zippery almost. Kind of.
There's a lot of fuzz. There's a lot of like machiney sound, but that's what industrial music and stuff influenced by that is into. They're into that harshy, grindy, buzzy, definitely. Right?
But I think he's alluding to more like dance themes.
Yeah. How did you listen to this off the bat?
Headphones.
Okay. I did a phone listen to ease me in because I didn't want to get blasted with something. I didn't know what it was. And I was right away, I was like, this does not translate to phone very well at all. It's not a very good phone listen. And I checked that out a few different times. And a lot of it was because of like the fascination with industrial sound this thing has. Mm-hmm. And I know that like that shaped the genre so hard, but it was like really struggling to come out of my phones. I put headphones on, and I did like it a lot better. The vocals even were like a lot better.
For sure.
I would love to hear a different mix.
Me too. I think
even on this first song right away, I was like, I wish this was mixed a little different.
I didn't find like there was like enough like low end. I don't know, like I didn't find like any like bass grooves, I guess. I don't know if that's part of like this, maybe that's a style choice or if that's just like a mixing thing.
It's definitely very sparse. I think you're right.
So
yeah, and that's it. And then it reminds me just, of other synthwave stuff. But what's really cool is I'm starting to see like, oh, there's more influence here than just industrial or just like Nine Inch Nails or stuff like that. I'm picking up all sorts of stuff, and that is intriguing me a little bit.
I get that a lot more even later.
You get a lot more of that even later?
Yeah, like a lot of more like different influences outside of like industrial or dark wave.
And that's all I got for this track.
Me too. All right. The second one is called Skate. And it, for me, I was like, oh, this is like the first song again. It's like the same synth sounds.
Yeah, I have more industrial, NIN, fuzzy attempt at ethereal. It's trying to be ethereal and warm, fuzzy.
Yeah,
I have more of this, and I said this needs some mastering and a different set of ears on it, but I really like where it's going.
I think it's it feels like a little repetitive. That's kind of part of the genre, I'm sure, but maybe it was just a mix. Maybe it was just a mixing thing that was making it like feel more repetitive.
Dance music is always going to have a bit of like four on the floor. I mean, you know that. Like,
yeah.
This is more for the listener than you, but like,
yeah.
Like sometimes you have to accept that like if you like this kind of whatever music, it might all kind of sound the same beat. 'Cause it's kind of made to be mixed and danced to and everything, and not stop.
Yeah, I think I think there's a way to do like four on the floor, but also keep it like some kind of like musical movement to it, and I wasn't. It wasn't coming out with this track, at least for me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't even remember this one that much because I kind of like had more notes about like how it sounded to me than the song itself. And a lot of that, again, these vocals are too quiet, and that's too bad.
Yeah, I know. It is like I do get kind of like bummed out about it because I really didn't want to hear them.
I like this to a certain extent, but I can already tell it's going to be a little bit of a chore to get through it. And like the synths don't stop; they kind of just bombard you with them.
It's like a wall of sound.
Yeah. Okay. And then like as I'm halfway through writing about this track, I write, oh, this little keyboard hook is cool, and I like this futuristic. There's a modern kind of modern rave edge coming through, kind of post electro clash, and like even like elements of like I guess like dubstep, but I don't mean like the rhythmic elements, but some of like the synth pads they use and the atmospheric kind of stuff that got borrowed from trance. I'm like, okay, and I say I'm kind of back in it now.
Yeah, for sure. For at least for me, like I was kind of I was so shocked by the first song, and then when I got to this song, I was like, man, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this or not. That does change though as we go on, so little teaser.
I did say there that like I like this as first time, but I'm already telling it's gonna be sort of a chore to get through this, and it was, but I was there for it, and I think I came out smiling about it and nodding my head and having actually some real moments with this record.
Same, I was actually really surprised.
Nice. Yeah, I have again, and like listener, I'm sorry for harping on this, but these vocals are really cool and they're really obscured and airy, and that's just too bad.
Yeah,
I know that this genre is interested in obscured vocals, like that's part of it. But I do think this crossed the line that was hard to get over, and I'm gonna just keep bringing up. I don't know if to like not bring it up or to bring it up when I wrote it down.
I felt I didn't write it down every time, but like it was like a constant kind of problem for me.
Yeah. What else you got on this track?
That's all I have for that track, actually.
Same. Take us to space, buddy.
Take us to space.
Track 3. This one's called Space.
Right here, I am automatically just like, I'm glad there's a vibe change, because right away the two first ones were like, like harsh industrial, like heavy synth, and then there's just a change right away, and I was like, all right, this gives me a feeling that like, okay, they're like gonna try to expand their sound a little more now.
So what I wrote here was, so I was just thinking about how I needed some variation, or I was going to get bored, and here it is.
Exactly, that's exactly how.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool 80s edge.
Mm-hmm. It's dancey.
Yeah, some cool songwriting again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think by going back to like my wall of sound kind of thought is like, by this track I was thinking, man, this might be exhausting because like it's so like dynamically loud and like harsh. I was like, I'm not sure like how much I'm gonna be able to like, if I'm gonna be able to do this all in one sitting or not.
Yeah, I think I had that feeling too. I think I did turn this off at one point and come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool 80s edge. Vocals are just okay quiet. They're just quiet.
Yeah, I can't remember. Is this the one that had? I don't think there was effect. Some of the songs had an effect, and some of them didn't have like the auto.
There's all sort of effects. There's all sort of like attempts at like ethereal and obscurity and fuzzed out, and it does work. And I probably have a bigger declarative statement on this later, but like it's interesting because like the songs are like almost unintentionally catchy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know what's making me think it's unintentional.
I know what you mean by that.
I think we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
We are gonna get there.
I'm kind of teasing it because I know I can just go off. But
it's hard to like not jump ahead.
Yeah. So here's why I write for the first time. I would consider a new mix on this.
I would agree.
Like I would straight up consider like giving this to someone to remix it. Mm-hmm. Not like add anything, like not that kind of just like literally like.
Just some
like
EQ stuff,
like mix it and get the vocals up higher.
I listen with like my iPhone headphones, and like those are naturally pretty bassy, and I still felt like I was like missing some kind of like bass element still.
Well, you know what it is that there's no rhythmic bass.
Yeah,
the bass is just
yeah. There's a drone bass and like the kick.
Like so there's no bass line. You know what I mean? And I know that it's an intentional kind of thing they're going for, but I don't think it's successful in that matter.
Yeah, I found when I've been making music, like I'll have like a low synth, and I'll be like, all right, sweet, I have like some bass notes in there, but then like I add like, and I'll actually add like a bass guitar in there, just like even accentuate like the kicks, and it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, you just add a little bit of rhythmic. The bass is both a melodic instrument and a rhythmic instrument, and I think if you only treat it as one or the other, you're gonna just be lacking in that department. And people are gonna be like, "Where's the bass?" And you're like, "I'm playing bass," but you're not playing the kind of bass they want to hear or the kind of bass the song wants.
Yeah, and that's something that like I continue to like struggle with and find like the balance to as I learn how to play bass, more.
Bridge comes up and I write, "Wow, a bridge I don't hate."
Oh yeah, that's right. We have talked about bridges in the past.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm already team no bridge. If you can
no bridge, all right.
Yeah, I don't see a point. Verse chorus, and get out. Do an outro and get out of here.
I would say verse chorus, chorus. Done.
There you go. Yeah, I like that too. We have one coming up on the new record that's verse, chorus, and that's it. Like I never wrote a second verse, and I keep trying to, and I just can't. Like every verse I write makes a song work.
We did that with Been Around. We just repeated the first verse again.
Yeah, we're like, do we write a second verse? And I'm like, I don't think so.
Nah.
The synths were really nice in this bridge, and like there's some really cool like synth pad stuff going on that like is really like modern, even though it's kind of presenting this kind of 80s-ish inspired dance music. It also has this like really modern ravey kind of sound to it.
I agree. I thought like at first I was like, man, this is kind of like cheesy, kind of sound like very preset like stuff. But as it went on, I was like, I couldn't have any other synth sound than this. You know?
It was nice.
Yeah.
So, do you want to move on to the next track?
Let's do it.
This one's called. This one's Solitude. Mm-hmm. And it says verse phasing, right? So I think that's another artist.
That's what I picked up too.
So when I can tell it's an artist, I think that was unclear a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing in the liner notes about that at all.
I only guess because they have like a couple their supporters on Bandcamp, and one of them was phasing, and I was like, this is probably an artist. Yeah,
that makes sense. And I think in a later track, there's another supporting artist,
and this is kind of an instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
This one's more my style. I wrote that exactly. Like more my style. It's more ambient, more vibey.
Nice little melody, nice chill wave-ish electro vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that modern plus 80s kind of synth wave thing that was popular the last couple, like in 2020 to 2019, or no, right in before that, there was this kind of synth wave sound that this is definitely influenced more by. I have nice to hear some little variation here.
Exactly. That's what I was like so excited about that. I was like, all right, we got variation. We're growing. It's not the same thing over and over. It's got a little more space. It's still dancey.
Totally.
It's just more palatable, I think, than like the first few.
Yeah. Like in what way? Explain that.
And like a more kind of like, wider audiences who aren't familiar with dark wave and industrial, I guess. I think this one would appeal more to like larger audiences, I guess.
Yeah. You kind of brought up listenability, a term.
Yes.
In a couple episodes ago. And does this kind of tie into what you're saying? Like, is this more listenable?
Yes, absolutely.
Why though, you think?
I think it's just like it kind of fits more into the kind of just like Western pop melody, versus I think like there's some songs that are about challenging stuff.
Purposefully challenging listenability.
And then there's some who are just inherently doing it because that's just how Western music is. And then there's when people who just like really lean into it. And I think this is just more in the middle. Like they just kind of, they're not trying to like break any boundaries. They're just trying to make like a good track.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty it's a pretty basic explanation if I understand you correctly. Just that like you know like there are certain constructs in music that are like like popular music does use a lot of these conventions, and if you use these, it'll make it more listenable than if you decide to deliberately break them.
Yeah,
which
and
is
listenability.
That does seem obvious, right?
Yeah.
If you're trying to make it be like I want to be a little bit hard to listen to, you might achieve that.
Mm-hmm. And like just because it doesn't have like maybe great listenability doesn't mean it's not good either. Like there's a lot of like movies that I love or that are considered really good that I would never want to watch again.
Yeah.
Like Requiem for a Dream, like
Cassie and I just talked about that. We were like talking about movies that were I might cut out on you. Movies that we were like, I never want to watch that again, and that was one of them. Like never.
Exactly. Like I never want to watch that. I owned it for a little bit and I was like, why?
I haven't memorized like the whole. I could probably like redo the movie myself on green screen here, and from memory.
Save it for the patrons.
There we go, listeners. If you want to see the band Scamp's one-man version of Requiem for a Dream, starring Julio, a retelling of Requiem for a Dream from memory on green screen.
that
could actually be good. Yeah.
That could be amazing. I would definitely be like trippy.
By the time,
very sad.
Yeah, definitely. I think I can make it like I can make it funny. I think I can like actually like make it not sad.
You do have a theater background, so I think you could do it better than a lot of folks.
Yeah,
think you could.
I do have the schooling to do this. I have a degree in this. And bro, by the time my like 20-year reunion comes around, I'll go and I'll be like, what have you been doing? Like, well, I did this like green screen retelling of Requiem from a Dream from my own memory for my patrons.
This is the more I think about this, the more it's like the funniest thing I've ever.
Yeah, it's
like
it's a little dark. So let's bring it back to this record here and listenability. So by the time that listeners, you will have heard this. I think on the live stream that we will have taped a few weeks ago, we're going to tape this weekend. We're going to talk more about listenability because I think this is a really interesting point that some people brought up that they were like intrigued by your thoughts on listenability. I thought it sounded pretty straightforward.
Yeah. That's what I thought too, but I'm glad that people are engaged and want to know more. Yeah. So I'm happy to expand on it.
So back to this song, it's instrumental. It's nice. Nice. Here's some variation, and I have written here: are these fart sounds? Did you notice like the fart?
I did not pick
There's
up
some
any
like farty
sounds.
synth. There's some straight up farty synth in this, and I wrote that this song might be too long. This is the first time
it's a little low. I felt that for like most of the songs right now, but again, I think it's just a style thing.
Yeah.
Like a genre thing, you know?
I didn't start feeling it until here, but now looking back, I think I felt it the whole time, but I was like writing. So the songs were giving me enough time to write what I had to type. So I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
And like, I wonder if it's too early for a song like this in a record, like to have it be like just instrumental song track 3 or track 4, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's picky. That's me being really, really picky. And I have this note later, but like I mostly like this record, and kind of everything I'm saying is just me being picky about this.
I would actually kind of fall in that same school. Like there are some criticisms, but like I think I was like genuinely like really surprised how much I like this record.
Same. I enjoy it too, and I'm probably gonna give it another listen. I think this record is not like it's still alive. You know, I think this record could with some tweaks could be really excellent. And I think the things that I'm saying right now are just things that are preventing me from saying it's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's good.
Yeah. I don't have any notes about Solitude.
Same. So track 5 is called Somnambulant Masochism.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either.
Did you Google it?
I did not.
Yeah.
I was too tired.
Did you listen to it when you were tired?
I listened to it in the morning. This morning.
Oh, okay. I did too.
Yeah.
I listened to this morning too. That's kind of been helpful. Do you sit? How do you? I sit at a computer desk and listen now.
I was like late this time. I usually am on the couch, but like this time I was actually in bed, and so when I turned it on, I did get blasted. I was just like,
man.
Whoa.
I eased into it. So I listened to the first 3 songs on headphones, and then or on phone, then headphones, and then phone again. I eased back into it. So here's another like this track 5 is slower again.
It is. It's kind of moody.
Yeah. It is very moody. I write nodding my head again, and I've been actually doing that a lot to this.
This one is like kind of emo to me.
Yeah, man.
Did you get that?
Totally. There's a lot of genre jumping around going on in here that I think is more obvious as the record goes on. But yeah, emo. Let's jot that down. I think so too. Influenced by emo.
Yeah, like kind of like the Conor Oberst kind of like vocal style.
Yeah, definitely. I think some of that happened too with the last record, with that Nate Jonathan record. There was some Conor Oberst on there too.
Yeah,
I write Nine Inch Nails again on here.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool
I only
vocals.
know the hits by Nine Inch Nails. What do you think is like the go-to record for Nine Inch Nails, or what's your favorite? I guess.
If I were you. Like, or what? Are you trying to get into them, or what are you saying?
I think I should listen to more of them.
I would just listen to their first record.
Okay.
Just listen to the very first one, and like the first few ones. Like, I don't want to like say the wrong thing, but I'll say the albums that I think they are now, and I'll edit it.
Cool.
Downward Spiral.
Uh-huh.
Pretty Hate Machine.
Yeah.
Those 2 albums, I think, and I don't know what order they're in, but I'll put them in the order that's proper. But all that's good. I can make you a very short mix of their hits. You know,
I know the hits.
Like, you know, like I mean that's what I think is good.
Yeah.
A lot of people really get into like the albums like Ghosts 1 through 4, and then stuff like that. I'm less into that, but as a producer, that dude's like unreal. You know.
Yeah, he's done a lot of like score, like film score.
He did
work
that
I really
soul
like.
that soul record or that soul soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, he did. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's sweet.
Him and like a piano player and someone else did it. Like, but
that's
he did
awesome.
A lot of the ambient stuff in there is all him.
That's really cool.
He's really incredible, and he brought that kind of music to the forefront. And so we can talk about genre and his influence because it's so big. This was a dude that was in 80s new wave bands and kind of dark wavy bands, and then was like an intern at a studio, then kind of used the studio to make his own music on the down low and put it out. And that's how a lot of this music is made. And we kind of said it sounded kind of homemade, but like even Nine Inch Nails stuff was a little bit homemade. He was kind of doing it after hours at the studio by himself.
Yeah.
But his first record came out in like 89. I think that first one.
That's pretty wild. That's so long ago. That's pretty impressive, honestly.
It really is. And his influence is so vast.
Yeah.
Like Trent Reznor and everything. And you can hear it a lot here, but you're saying emo too. I have written here, what will Dan say about vocals and lyrics?
Okay, here's my take on this. Because of the,
do you have this thought at this time too? I do. Know. Okay, cool.
I do. I have a note about like the vocal melody. I think it kind of was like lacking at this point because we were getting like a lot of auto-tune and affected vocals, and now it's a little more raw, but like the singing is also kind of, again, just like there's no like real catchy melody. There's a melody, but it's not like I can't really like grab on to anything here.
Yeah, I'm guessing Dan will maybe ignore them.
I actually didn't ignore them because I guess I just acknowledged them. That was it.
Okay. I have written, would I like this more if I wasn't doing this podcast? And this is, I have had this question.
That's a good question.
I've had this question a couple times, and I think I had this, I don't know when I did, but I phrased it this way, but this is the first time I've been like, would I like this album more if I wasn't doing a podcast? And that's kind of a rough one. And is not like, I'm like, ooh, I wish I could experience this record and not analyze it, because maybe I would enjoy it more, but I can still learn to enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm. I think there have been a couple records that I probably would enjoy more if I wasn't listening with like podcast ears.
It's way different, huh?
It is different. And I think we talked about that a little bit with even Koi Boy 3000. I think there's just certain albums that are just hard to talk about just by nature of what they are.
Yeah. Totally. And if you get hybridy enough, all you're doing is pointing out influence, and that's not really all that interesting, you know?
Yeah.
So we got to kind of go how it makes us feel and what could be improved, I guess. I have here bopping and swaying again. However, this needs a better mix because I want to listen to this louder. Mm-hmm. And I listened to it really quiet.
Gotcha. I kind of pumped it up to make sure, because I felt like I was like, maybe I'm just like missing some harmonics, you know, and it wasn't helping. I
went up and down, but I eventually went lower and lower a little bit because I had a little bit of ear fatigue too, and so it was like, man, I wish this was mixed different because I wanted to pump it. I'd love to just play it loud, but it was I know it wouldn't sound good there. Mm-hmm. That's all I have for this track.
Same.
And here I say again, like I'm mostly enjoying this, and I'm guessing that the rest of this part of the review will be me being picky. Mm-hmm. So you can interpret that. I mean, like I do like it.
Yeah, I do like it too.
Here's another track here that has a collaboration, it looks like, again, huh? Yeah.
And I like this guest vocal. I don't know who this person is, but I thought it was a cool vibe for the track.
This is Paradise is featuring Damn. I noticed we did the Earth Radio episode. We didn't name a single member of that band when we were reviewing their record. We didn't name one. So apologies to Earth Radio. So we might as well try to name, if we know the name of the people and that's public, name that. So this is featuring DAM, maybe all capitals. Different vocals.
It's kind of more like a hip hop vibe, I guess.
Yep. What else? Tell me what you think. I have something pretty long about how obvious, not obvious, but how a certain genre is revealed to me here in the song that they're
interesting. Okay. The only really other note I have here is like it was another slower one. So like by now we've had kind of 3 kind of mid-tempo, down-tempo tracks, and I was like, man, I think we're kind of in a lull right now, and I was kind of thinking like, man, like if this continues, it's going to get kind of boring.
Interesting.
And I was like, I'm kind of hoping for another vibe shift.
You were actually appreciative more of the faster, like more up stuff.
Yeah, or I guess I was just kind of like anticipating maybe or hoping for another like more movement to get through the record. You know, we started out hard and then we kind of slowed down, and then I was kind of, you know, worried that we would kind of stay there. Spoiler, it didn't. But
yeah,
I was at that point while listening, I was like, I'm feeling the lull now. Let's see what happens next.
There's some like so with this track, I have like different vocals. I do wish it sounded a little better, but now like when I was saying the influence here, there's some modern rave influence coming in. There's like kind of like stuff ravers listen to. It's like kind of more chill out music that's still electronic and kind of is also influenced by a genre. In my opinion, it's kind of a short-lived genre. Did you ever heard of a genre called witch house? It's an actual genre of music.
Okay, so that was also a genre listed on the Bandcamp.
Really?
Yeah, and I thought it was referring to the venue, and I was very confused.
That's interesting.
This makes so much more sense now.
Okay, I didn't read any genre. I don't read the genres on the Bandcamps, so that's hilarious. So basically, Witch House was a short-lived genre, think 2004, 2009, kind of post-electro clash, and it was really, really heavily influenced by industrial, but also by like chopped and screwed hip hop, where like the vocals are really slow, like really slowed down. It was also influenced by soundscapes and kind of punk and post emo as well.
Okay.
And one notable band is Salem out of Traverse City. Did you ever listen? I don't know if you listen to them. I'm trying to think. It was a really short-lived genre that like it also has like elements of shoegaze in it too. You'd probably like it, and it's really glittery and flashy, and it even I don't know. It's not really like an official. It's like a basically micro genre, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And even within that genre, like obscured vocals are part of that genre too. You know, like a hallmark of that is like vocals that are too quiet.
I'm just like so outside of like the whole like rave music and like even the house music. I'm really more just like familiar with like down tempo kind of stuff.
Sure. The thing is though, this was rave music kind of, but Witch House, it's not house music. Like that it's a misnomer. It's like a joke. Like it used to be called rape gaze. So they changed the genre name to make it better. Like shoegaze, but rape gaze. So they changed that genre and they changed it to Witch House.
Okay.
So it's not house music. If you're looking for that, it's not. It's more along the lines of hip hop, of like atmospheric hip hop. Even like Y has a little bit of Witch House. Of Witch House. It's kind of goth.
Yeah.
You know?
It kind of makes me think of. I think there's a now, and I don't know how long this has been around, but I was just kind of introduced to like, I think it's called like horrorcore or something.
Yeah. I mean that's more rap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and this has elements of that in it, but that's more like overtly hip hop.
Yeah. Okay. And this is more on the electronic side.
This is more white, like white high school kids who are into rave music. This is like stuff that Billie Eilish listened to. You know, like this is like proto her kind of music, but way more messed up. I'll have to make you another mix. It'll be a Witch House mix.
I love this. This is great. I'm learning so much about music. I'm such like a noob sometimes. This is great.
But it's really influenced by like chopped and screwed music. I mean, like hip hop or with the altered vocals, and it's also influenced by goth. You know, at some point there's like church bells. Like, do you hear that? There was like some echoey church bells. Yeah. So think cool. It's goth. This is a goth record too.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I could see.
Maybe we were looking at it as like a electro record or like a dark wave record, but maybe it's just like kind of like goth hybrid.
Right. And I guess that what you said like kind of fits in with like the emo vibe too. A little bit. Yeah,
I have written here too like that. It was that Witch House was a genre influenced by also punk and like kind of emo and post emo stuff too.
Gotcha. So it was basically just a bunch of white kids who got laptops and they're like, let's go.
And they got synth pads and they can kind of rap, but they can also like rap and slow the rap way down. And they're all on DXM and like pills and shit, and they're having a good time chilling out. It's chill music, you know.
Is Witch House still a thing that people are making?
I would say that some of Billie Eilish's stuff is kind of Witch House. Okay. I don't really know any like prominent Witch House bands because it's not a genre that I really follow. But a lot of stuff has been influenced by it. Even I think Captain Daddy, some of Captain Daddy stuff has a little bit of that in it.
Okay, yeah. Now that you mention that, it's like some of those tracks.
Hip hop is like gonna be like all sorts of music that are like that are still being developed. It's so hard to classify what it is because ultimately it's just kind of hip hop music.
For sure. With that said, let's get some more hip hop submissions, folks. So if you know any hip hop artists that are putting out new music or put out something in 2020, send them our way at bandscamps@gmail.com.
That could be a whole thing too. I'd be happy to just scour hip hop. We can just try to find the rappers and comment on their video, or like, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe that could be an extra thing that we seek out the rappers and find out who we can find.
Yeah.
But if you are a rapper, if you're a producer, please send us music. We love that kind of music. We love talking about it.
So.
It's fun to talk about it in as an outsider, honestly.
Same, yeah. I can't claim to, I'm not part of the hip hop scene at all. But
this track here, this track here, Paradise is featuring Damn, is definitely well within that realm.
Okay, cool.
I think so.
That's great.
What else you got about this track?
That's all I have for that one.
What's the next one called? Is this one Dark Fantasy?
Crimson.
It was an aesthetic note. Like there's a dark fantasy thing here going on.
Yeah,
and I said, I think it's appropriate for 2020 and 2021, in my opinion. What does Dan think?
Oh, I didn't even think about it in
like
terms
vibe
of
wise,
Yeah. I think the homemade vibe, translates for like 2020.
What about like mood?
I'm not sure if I've like really pinned down a mood for 2020 yet. That like music can because I feel like there's so many emotions that are attached to 2020, and I don't feel like a certain genre has really like attached itself to 2020 yet for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I do think that this kind of fits into the vibe that I had. Before the song came on, I think that last one was my favorite song, that Dark Fantasy. I really liked. And then I think when this one, I'm like, ooh, I kind of really like this. And the mix got a little better.
It did. I said I dig this softer synths, more dynamic space in the song, which
interesting sequencing.
Yeah, it makes me think of The Faint.
Totally. I would have led with this song.
Interesting.
I would have led with this. It even reminds me of The Faint. It reminds me of Berlin, like that Riding on the Metro song.
I love that song.
Or like what's that one band? Like Yazoo. It's like 80s dark wavy kind of stuff.
Yeah, this is kind of like more my vibe. Like the less industrial, more on there's more wave, I guess.
And the vocals are louder, huh?
Yeah, vocals are louder. Praise be.
Yeah. Do you think? I know this come up. I think it's a self-consciousness issue on the vocals.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
Hopefully it's just like heavy-handedness out of like just being too heavy with it. But I think that maybe like they might not have been satisfied entirely with their vocal takes on a lot of it.
That would make sense to me, especially the ones that are like unaffected, or less affected at least. Like it didn't really make sense to me when they were like auto-tuned. Like I was like, that should just be boosted up. It's going to be like a melody no matter what. But
right.
I do see kind of like why they would do that for like a less affected vocal. But I think still just my preference is to have more vocals be more present.
I go kind of back and forth between like three things. It's like, I think it's like 1/3 insecurity, 1/3 trying to sound with the obscured vocals. And 1/3 just making a choice that's just a little bit off, like it's not anything like bad. And I think it's really fixable. Like I said, I would just replace it. I would just be like, yeah, here's the new one. And then be like, boop, just take down.
I've done that so many times with even some of my songs. I've gone back and remixed them and just like replaced them without telling anyone. Just like,
we can do it on the RSS feed really easily. That's like one of the great things about RSS. I bounced down a couple episodes. I bounced it down, and it was like, oh shit! It was like missing the first 10 seconds for some reason.
Okay.
Then I just replaced it, and then 5 minutes is back up on everyone's phone. This song was my favorite one so far on the record.
Same. I was like, I got the vibe shift again. So I was like, a previous one, I was like, oh,
You're back up.
Yeah, we're back up. We're out of the lull. Or the potential lull, and now we're into dance mode now.
Yeah, it's definitely it's trying to kind of take us for a ride a little bit.
Yeah, I will say like this is kind of like the turning point in the album for me, like right here. I guess like the previous one too, with Paradise, but here Crimson, I was like, this is kind of like the point where it really my mind changed about it.
Yeah, so you started feeling better again about the record.
Yeah, I was thinking like, oh, I think like it was seeming like less of a chore at this time. I was like, I'm like, enjoying this. I
had that feeling too about this pop being a potential chore. I never got to this will be a chore. I got to this might be a chore. Okay, the next song is called The Moon. It's track 8. I wrote again good.
Same.
I don't know what that means. What did you write again?
I said this one kind of reminds me of M83.
Oh, cool.
So that means good.
Yeah, there is a bit of chill wave in this in all of this music. So here's a big major question.
Okay.
Do you think this is, and I don't know why I ask you. I like asking you questions all the fucking time.
I love it. Like, this is great. No, this is good.
Like, do you think this is a vehicle to showcase their programming and musical composition, or is it a vehicle to showcase their songwriting?
I think it's neither, really. I think this person just likes to make music, and they found a way to do it like successfully through electronic music, and they had the time, and this was kind of like an exciting thing for them, and they probably don't hear a lot of, you know, like industrial like music or dark wave around Grand Rapids, and so they probably saw it as an opportunity to be like, oh, I'm gonna be like, this is music I'm really into that no one's really doing around here.
Yeah, people get that attitude about Grand Rapids sometimes.
Yeah.
One time years ago, I was sitting with this dude in the back who started a band. I was sitting in the back of a yard with like on Heritage Hill, and he was talking about his new band. And I heard them I was like on MySpace at the time, you know, and I heard him, and I was like, oh yeah, and he was talking about him. He's like, I don't know, we're kind of like synthwave poppy. He's like, I don't know if Grand Rapids is like ready for it or into it. And I was like, don't underestimate the city, you know.
Yeah.
And that band was Stepdad. It was the dude. It was the dude from Stepdad. It was Ryan from Stepdad. And
that sounds like Ryan.
Yeah, and he was sitting there, and he's like, I don't know if like the city. I was like, dude, like Grand Rapids loves fucking music, you know. Like, don't underestimate what we can handle. You
and
know
look,
what I mean?
And Grand Rapids fucking loved them.
Yeah, and here's the thing, everybody, is like keyboards have been around for a long ass time, and no one's really impressed with a keyboard just because it's a keyboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they are fun, and they're really cool tools. But I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that, because I always think about that.
That's really funny. I love. And
I was just like, I think like give it a chance. You know, like play some shows.
Yeah.
You know.
And
they got like super big. I don't think they got big because of Grand Rapids, but it didn't hurt, you know, at all.
The first time I saw them was actually for remember Midwest Fest.
Yep.
The Grand Rapids time, and like Little Village, we shared a bill with them, and they were relatively unknown at this time, so they played first on the bill. Okay. And they were like absolutely hammered, and it was the funniest thing ever. But it was like probably the best show I've seen by them, just because it was just fun. The two of them at the time, and it was great.
Yeah, beloved band. Thought they were doing something far out, but they're just doing something that was like actually relevant for the time too.
Yeah.
This is like, so I asked that question about what is this a vehicle to showcase? Because so the programming's all pretty good, and conceptually I get where they're coming from, but there's actually some really nice songs in here.
I would agree with that for sure.
And I'm like, is that an accident? You know, are there some accidental, like well written songs? Or, you know, I'm just trying to like hammer the process down, because you don't often stumble upon a song accidentally like that, where it's like, oh, that's actually a verse, chorus, nice little song with a melody.
I'm guessing that this person here plays guitar, and they probably have some musical chops and songwriting chops from playing guitar. Okay. And that is transferring over to this project here. And so that's kind of my guess of where their songwriting chops are coming from.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of obscured under this kind of guise of genre. But I think that's actually a really easy fix. I think there's just some mixing things in here. I would just love a remix on this record, you know? But here's some vocal things. Now I want to get into again, like self-consciousness of the vocals. Like, turn the vocals up. If you don't like them, re-record the vocals.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest. As a vocalist myself, who is incredibly self-conscious about his own voice and is incredibly pitchy, if I don't try super, super hard, if you don't like what you recorded, just re-record it. You know? Other than that, if you like what you recorded, let's turn it up, and then let's party, because this record could be so good with the vocals a little louder.
It would be sweet. And also I find that if you're self-conscious about singing, doubling the vocals is like a nice kind of like effect that's not like so in your face.
Sure. A lot of singers do that, especially singers that have consistent pitch within the note. Like, even if you're like a little pitchy, if you sing the note consistently, like I bet you could double your vocals better than I could. Sure. You know what I mean? I think that I have a hard time remembering what note I sang that last time at, you know?
Yeah. That
but
makes
even
sense.
Bright Eyes does that. Even Bright Eyes doubles it up, and it's like warbly, even.
So he's like,
Yeah, and it sounds hilarious, but it works. That's what he does.
He's like my favorite singer to do impressions of.
You want to go on? Go on. I'd love to hear you do a whole
It's like, this
Bright
is the
Eyes
first
impersonation
day of my life.
Like
right?
Yeah. Basically, I had my eyes closed, or like I was looking at you, and I just thought I was zooming with Bright Eyes with Connor for a second. Do you have anything else for this one? This song's called Desiccant, track 9. I like this now. I like the track a lot.
Me too. I'm in it now. I like this groove. This is like the poppiest one so far to me.
I can't help think this stuff would be more popular if it was mixed differently too.
I agree.
I think I could totally see this on something like a video game or a movie or a commercial or like, I don't know, a TV show or just fucking on a mixtape or something. It's cool.
Yeah.
This is cool.
I was dancing a little bit in my kitchen. I was making myself a sandwich, and I was just like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah, damn, that auto-tune sounds cool, but I do not like this mix.
Yeah, the mix is a little troublesome, but I would have loved to hear some of these jams with like a female vocalist.
Oh.
I think that would have been, like something, I don't know, like maybe that's more just going with like the house vibes and
totally. I think that like even like any type of electronic music like really does utilize female vocals all the time. Like they switch it up. It's like that's a big convention, and as a producer is you just have some guest vocalists, and they happen to be of all genres, or all genders.
Yeah.
Like you don't pigeonhole yourself with just your own voice. But
Exactly.
this is them singing otherwise the whole time. And I believe the gentleman's name is Josh Ambrose, who is the main person in this. And we haven't said that yet, but I'll make it an attempt to actually say their names because Earth Radio, I totally just like denied reading their names.
I feel like we mentioned Hannah. Maybe it was off air.
I don't think we even did.
Okay.
No. We'll talk about that on the recap.
I'm not like close with Josh, but I do know Josh.
Cool.
And so that was even more exciting to hear this record.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Awesome. I do believe that we've met years ago, so I'm not entirely sure, and my memory has been fucking shitty. So, but I do think I know this person as well.
Yeah, I feel bad because I think he recognizes me before I recognize him. So I'm sorry, Josh. Usually he's like, "Hey, man," and I'm usually like, So my bad, dude. I'm sorry. I
have someone that I did that with that I was like, I thought it was someone, and it wasn't. And now I've been saying hi to him every time I see him for like the last 10 years.
Yeah, you just gotta lean into it at that point.
I don't even know. No, he's always like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And I was like, I said hi to you once accidentally. And now we're friends forever.
And now I have to get to know you.
I know. Yeah, this is a good standout track too. I like it.
Yeah, this is like the way to go for me. I was like, this is like the direction. I love it.
Me too. Let's go on to track 10.
You're the one.
You're the one. More house.
More poppy. I think just what I said. Like, this is the direction to go for me, at least. Like, I love this.
Okay. Interesting. For me, I have sounding more samey.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you liked the fast stuff. I like the more mid-tempo stuff.
Yeah. I think at this point, I was like, if I like the dancier vibe, the more like poppy kind of.
Yep. You're liking the dancey stuff. I'm liking the more mid-tempo stuff. We're both kind of liking the kind of chill wave stuff, though.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, this has got some scamp of approval on here, I think. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Is that good?
I love that. That's good.
That's
really good.
Approval. Thank you.
I think
I misspoke and I came up with that.
We gotta get a rubber stamp now.
Oh, I know.
Scamped.
There was that one scamp store downtown that made custom scamps, but I don't know if they're in business anymore. I don't know if they're actually in business anymore.
That's great. Yeah, I hope they're still in business.
Richmond Scamp.
Yeah, Richmond Scamp.
Yeah, so I have like sounding more samey. I have it kind of sounds really DI. Mm-hmm. Like directly inputted, mm-hmm. And that I think my ears are starting to get to me at this point.
I think that just attributes more to like the home recording kind of vibe.
Yeah, I do like it again. I do like it, so mm-hmm. I like it. I like the modern stuff coming in. There's like some modern elements of like kind of trance and even like, some like the other modern dance trap sounding synths.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, like the gripes that I have had are just really coming from just lack of experience with like some industrial and dark wave genre and stuff like that. So like that's I think why I gravitate more towards the second half of the album.
Okay.
It seems like the emo influences and like kind of like dancey, more like
sure.
80s vibe, like I connect with more.
Yeah. Well, one thing I have here is I start kind of like trying to see like what is it about this that is holding me back from really getting lost in it. This music's really additive. Like it doesn't really like take anything away. It's always just adding a part. It's like here's the drum part and here's the hi-hat and here's the bass synth and here's the other synth. And then this other part comes in, but nothing gets taken out. And then we add another part, and it just seems like it's so many layers stacked together. And when I wrote that out, and then I like closed my eyes and listened. And I was like, yep, like none of these parts like start getting removed. Like you put a new synth in, and if it kind of clashes with the other one, oh well, it's just on top of it.
I agree, and that gets really exhausting over times. To the ear fatigue, it's a lot of just like sound.
Yeah, it's a lot of sound, and the sounds with electronic music, you have this way of you can make like kind of sounds merge together, and even with modern technology, using like buses or using like all sorts of stuff, it starts to sound like different instruments instead of one piece of music to me. And that was a sensation I couldn't really snap out of, and it's almost like some kind of weird like music. I don't know what it is, but like. My brain starts to be like, this isn't music. This is all like 70 different instruments coming at you.
Yeah, that's a theme I think that applies to both albums today. Is just a sense of a cohesiveness.
Yeah, this one does lack a little bit of cohesion, but this one has a lot of. It's reaching for it really, really, really hard. And so those two things together made me think about. Then let's talk songwriting.
Yes.
How do you think they wrote these?
I am guessing they probably had one idea, and then they just kind of built from it.
Okay. Like, do you think they wrote the vocals first?
No, I think the vocals are probably the last thing.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, but it seems hard to, like, maybe just because I always, when I write songs, they almost are always written music and vocals at the same time. Almost always. But we have done some as a band. I've done some myself that were not like that. So, you think it's all music then vocals?
That's what I'm thinking for the most part.
The caliber of the songs then are awesome. If that's how I don't know why like that like is like impressive to me. It is though.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess. I think by the first. I didn't really get like the songwriting vibe in the first half, but in this, I think toward later and even like by halfway point, that made more apparent sense to me. I'm wondering maybe if they were even like written just on like a guitar or like just like a regular keyboard, and then just like arranged later on.
That's what I wonder, because there's like all these like little things in here that I really, really do enjoy that are like, these seem more planned out than just some. I've heard music like this that just is so focused on this, like the synthesis and like the beat making, that it really overlooks like any type of like songwriting, because it's like such a secondary thing. And I don't think this does this. This is kind of trying to put the songwriting the best it can to its own ability, like first and foremost too.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it's not just like part A, part B, part A, part B. There's like it's a little more intentional, I guess.
I have written here, I can tell that I'm kind of running out of like things to say, because I'm not sure what else to say that I haven't said. I do that way too much, and maybe I'm just looking for evidence to back myself up. But this is full of goodies, and I like it. I like it more the less I pay attention to it.
Yep.
But what happens is I'm forced to confront a piece of music's weakness head on with this show. And in this case, I really can't stop thinking about the negatives on the record. But it's like really good, better with a better mix. But I need to also learn to accept an album on the parameters of the genre that it's in.
That's like the biggest thing, is just really putting it into context of what it
right.
is.
Context is super important. And I think we've said that so many times, and that's is a really good time to introduce context, because within the context of like Witch House or Industrial or Dark Wave, this is pretty cool, but I still do think there's that our criticism with it is still applicable, even though like I really want to like just be like, maybe that's just how this genre is.
Yeah, I think we absolutely have like authority to speak on topics like songwriting and mixing and stuff like that.
Do you think they did everything themselves?
I'm guessing so.
Like, do you think that they had someone mix it for them or master it for them?
I'm guessing they probably mixed them themselves. I'm not sure about mastering.
If that was even done?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the church bells. I mean, here's where the church bells are on this record.
Church bells
That's
are
very,
cool.
yeah, that's very, what's it called? Witch House.
Okay. Makes me think of that one song, Daft Punk, Aerodynamic.
That brings us to the last song, Caustic City.
Did we get? I don't think we talked about Departure.
Departure?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Back to the slow ones.
Yeah.
I guess what I was saying was actually for Departure.
Okay.
I
think
was just saying.
Departure. Yes, I would put this I would have put this maybe at this first song. It kind of is cool, like build up kind of thing.
Yeah, I liked it.
Again,
it's full of goodies.
Yeah, it makes me more think of like the M83 kind of vibe.
Sure. This is the one with the church bells in the end of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I had something out of order here.
And then Caustic City is
yeah,
just another instrumental here. I think it probably just could have been cut in half and then just like faded out, and then we would have been good.
I really like this one. I said got me to zone out nicely on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some more tracks like that. Like I was just kind of sitting in my chair and I kind of like leaned back and closed my eyes and I kind of forgot what I was doing. And I came back, a minute later and was like, oh shit, like you took me for a ride.
It's a nice vibe.
That's the first time that happened on this record where I really got taken away by the music.
I like the vibe. I think I was just like,
it's great
because Departure built up so much. It was just kind of like a maybe like a less impactful ending for me because the way that Departure ended.
Yeah.
And just like the name itself is like a really good ender. Departure, Yeah.
I don't know. Overall, I have like some pretty mixed feelings about this, but I do like it.
Me too. I was genuinely surprised like that, how much I liked it. Because again, like I don't really necessarily gravitate to like harsh electronic noise stuff or whatever. And I was pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed.
Yeah, my only criticism is the mixing. I think it just needs another set of ears on it. And man, if you want to send stems over to us, we'll mix it and we'll show you what we mean.
Yeah.
It just needs a little bit, you know. I have easy fix. That's my last thing is just easy fix.
Yeah, you could remix this whole album in like a day, easy.
Like, and I'm not talking about like it's quiet to where like it's a bit quiet. Like it sounds like I'm hearing your headphones bleed through to a different instrument. It's so quiet, or like you have accidentally some of your vocals muted. Is how it sounds like I want like your vocals are muted.
I just think like the synths are just so powerful and they're just so turned up.
They're in the same range. As human vocals.
Yeah. So they just need to be like turned down a little bit, and then you could get that makeup volume with mastering.
Do you have anything else on here?
No, I think. Let's see. What do we do first?
Are we there?
Yeah.
Are we there?
Are we there?
Are we at the did they get there moment of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I agree. I think they got there.
I can't really argue with the music that's being made here, and there's some really delightful stuff that taps into a lot of different genres that I do enjoy hearing music. There's some really surprising songwriting, and my only critique is all mixing, which could literally be out of their hands. They could pass it on. If I owned a label that put this out and they gave me this mix, I'd be like, you need to remix this. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I think, if I was like in a club and like some of these like dancier tracks came on, I would be really feeling it.
Yeah.
Let's give it a rating.
I always have food ratings. Do you think it's a psychological thing that I'm always thinking about food? But I was thinking ice cream sandwich.
Interesting.
It's always food with me.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna rate it as like getting mail, but it's bills.
Ooh.
But
Do you get mail that's not bills?
or just getting mails, but it's bills, but they're not bad. Yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
I was like, bills? I get bills all the time.
Yeah. Like you get bills and like, okay, here's the rating. You get getting mail, you get bills and a birthday card.
There we go. I like that better.
Mm-hmm.
Listener, let us know what you think. Send us an email at bandscams@gmail.com. We're going to take a short break, and we have yet another West Michigan review.
Stay tuned.
Hello, listener. Be sure to check us out on YouTube. I have uploaded everything, all the episodes, all the live streams. It's all available there. Be sure to subscribe and check out all of our content there. Bands, we are still looking for submissions. Everything is open for 2020 and 2021. You can email us at bandscamps@gmail.com.
All right, welcome back from the break. If you're just tuning in, I don't know how that would be possible, but if you're just tuning in, this is Band Scamps episode 12.
It's possible, right? That you're like, I'm going to skip to the very middle.
They're like, this is where the good stuff is.
I'm gonna skip to the part where I stop talking.
That's right.
It's probably here.
This podcast is just basically a long bathroom break for y'all, isn't it? That's
Yep.
fine. Let's get some housekeeping things out of the way real quick. Thanks to
do it.
Tom Hunt for providing our intro song. Thank you to Cassie Houghton for introducing us and closing us out. Thank you to Julio for all your hard work editing.
Yep.
And thank you to all our supporters, especially our patrons.
Thank you so much.
We have a
for
Patreon.
supporting us. We do have a Patreon at patreon.com/bandscamps.
Hey, we got a lot of goodies. Julio and I are still brainstorming all types of ideas for y'all, so it's
gonna be a madhouse once we can get together, which is coming up soon.
it's soon.
Yep.
But being a patron is the fastest, easiest, coolest, sexiest way that you can support the podcast. All money that we receive from the patrons is used to upgrade gear, help create bonus content for y'all. We also have the private Discord server for all the patrons, and a lot of fun stuff happens on there too.
Yeah, we have our own little social media network going on over there.
It really is. It's kind of now my preferred like social media in a way.
Same.
It's just like
Same.
It's just so. It's like it's what I think people imagine social media would be like more when it was
kind of old school too.
Yeah, it's just like chatting with your friends. It's nice.
Yep. I want to thank you, Dan, for upping your podcast game the last few months too.
Thanks, man.
It's been really fun to edit. I edit these every week, and we're just getting better and better and better. And it's so fun to hear like just some of your mannerisms that are coming through that are like fun. And I don't know, you're doing a great job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're doing awesome. It's been fun to edit.
Awesome.
I still need to make a mix of taking out all of our mouth sounds and
Oh
ums.
yeah.
Halfway through last episode, I was like, oh, I should have, because there was one sentence where you said every other word for like 4 minutes straight or something, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So patrons, we're gonna have the mix coming up soon, where I take out everything I take out of the podcast, we put in a podcast.
Have you ever heard there's like a collection from just the banter from Kiss live shows?
I love it. I love that
It's
stuff.
so funny because it's kind of like how you introduce like I Believe in Julio. Like, how was everyone doing tonight?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's just an hour of that and then just talking about drinking cold gin with orange juice.
I love it.
It's so great.
I want to do a whole show that's that. It's called banter, and it's just like only that, and so many blackouts, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and the curtain goes black and it
Yes.
goes back up again. That's great. And this is all about banter. This whole show is just bantering between me and Dan, and we want to thank you for tuning in, to all the loyal scamps, all the new listeners, everyone who is joining us for the ride. We've reviewed something like 20.
So
This
many.
will be reviewed number 25.
Yeah. Wow.
So here at number 25,
Here we are.
25th review. You want to jump in?
Yes. It is an album called Minutia by Serialism, and it came out March 17 of this year, 21.
Another really, really current one.
Yeah, it came out on St. Patty's Day.
Wow.
I don't think that's related at all. I think it just happened that way. I don't get any Irish vibes from this, but
no, I don't really either. So let's go into first impressions. That includes album artwork. Album artwork here looks artsy.
Yeah, it's like a black and white photo of a person. My favorite aspect is actually the font work. I think it's really interesting.
It is very nice. Yeah, it's just like a nice font with the band name and the album title.
Yeah, I like the
portrait, a really extreme close up portrait.
I like how the dots of the eyes though are like kind of interwoven within the text. I think that's really
very
cool.
Nice. So going along with first impressions, I think looks artsy. This appears to be a 2-person project.
I think it's just one person with help on recording from another person, I believe. This is a project by Jeff Collis formerly of X-Punk and The Brides.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So I also have written here, they know Dan, ? I wasn't sure how they came across us.
Yeah, I'm friends with Jeff, and our bands have played some shows together.
So is this a full disclosure moment?
Full disclosure, I do know Jeff. Yeah. Listeners, we're working on it might be out already by now.
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna have this done by this week. I think I have almost all the criterion.
But we've been working in this timeline right now, in this canon, we've been working on Band Scamps Bingo. So if you have any other themes, any other funny things that Julio or I say, let us know.
Specific phrases that come up a lot, like for example, full disclosure comes up quite often.
Context,
and this is a full context. We said a couple. This is a full disclosure moment. We kind of know these people, so we can jump right in. Minutia.
I think, or minutiae, or
okay.
I had to look that up.
Right. And that's the name of the title track.
That's right.
I noticed this is a song that makes that on Bandcamp, it jumps you to the not title track. It gives you the option of what song to play first.
What is? I think that's a artist set thing. I think
it is. You can choose to have it play a specific song off the record if you want, or you can have it just start at track the default.
And that makes sense considering this first track because it is. It's instrumental, as the whole record is, but it's like a very pretty drone.
Yeah, I wrote intro song of sorts. It's a soundscape. Okay, I'm not in the mood for this.
It doesn't like draw you in.
Yeah.
I think you have to like really know what you're getting into to kind of like appreciate what at least this first track, I think, or at least be familiar with the band.
Right. I like from a listener perspective, like it's risky, because it's like you start an album like that, you really better draw me in real fast. And this is just kind of a little soundscapey thing. I'm not in the mood for this. It could be much worse. This is
much worse. It sounds good at least,
but it's like straight up risky to start an album like this. And I want to say this from like an artist perspective too. We talked about this with Sugartone Noise Company. They had a song kind of that was essentially soundscape.
Yeah.
And even this band says, just listen to track 2. Don't bother with the first one.
Yeah, which is kind of like a diss on yourself almost. Just like, why put it in there, I guess, like, unless it's supposed to be like, it would make more sense to me if like the songs kind of all blended together.
Yeah. But
it doesn't do that. So it's just like, here's a sound.
Right. I had like just make track 2, track 1, and that was kind of long, a little bit pointless. I really don't hope this is not instrumental music.
Yeah, it could have, if you're going to do that, well, you were very much disappointed by that.
I was let down. I was let down in that hope.
So you were at the at the end of the joint.
I was at the end of the joint of please. Yeah. At the end, after it goes into I wish it was instrumental music, the roach is like, don't, please let this not be instrumental music. But you know what? Whatever. It's track 1. It's an intro track, and I understand why. Who cares?
Yeah.
But I feel like the band feels like who cares too, and so that is like a little bit monocle-y.
That is the monocle moment. Bingo.
There it is. You want to just go to track 2?
Track 2. Actually, I have one more note for the first track, just because I wasn't sure how much of the record was going to be like this, and I just want to say that this kind of going back to like the point with like Koi Boy is like this is kind of hard music to review because it requires such a different type of listening.
Yeah.
When we're listening to albums to review, it's very much like it's a very a mindful experience and a very present thing. You know, we're writing stuff down, but we're trying to feel it at the same time. And with like instrumental drone pretty music, it really requires you to kind of a different headspace to really kind of get in that zone, and to really I can't really get there when I'm writing stuff down.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. This is probably another moment of like, would we enjoy this more if we didn't have to like talk, like really analyze
exactly.
it?
Yeah. All right.
But for better or worse, we're here, you know?
And we'll review anything. So thank you for the submission.
Hell yeah. You want to go track 2?
Yes, Rage Coup.
Okay.
Or, yeah, I think that's called Rage Coup.
I gave this a bit of a listen before I started writing stuff down.
Okay.
And I don't think I wrote anything down until there was like a really weird mess up in the drums.
Yes. That really bothered me.
So I want to say here, obvious mess ups are going to be incredibly hard to give a good review for. So please take all of what we say on the rest of this with an open mind, because like now I'm like, my monocle is like in my eye really hard about
Yeah,
this.
it's part of your body by this point.
It's merging with the technology and my body's not resisting it. Like there's some interesting stuff in here. Okay, so but it sounds like kind of hella amateur.
It's like the bedroom recording vibe is heavy on the drums and guitar.
Yeah. I hate the drums.
Same.
Like they sound like I don't even know what they sound like. They sound like
they're so muted.
Rods. They're like rods.
Yeah, they're rods.
Please just play with drumsticks from now on, everybody.
They're rods, and like everything sounds like it has like a sheet over it.
Yeah. There's an acoustic electric plugged in,
which I don't know why you picked that sound.
But I have here, the music's actually okay.
Yeah, I think like the idea of like the synth textures with like acoustic guitar and drums, like I like that concept, but I think it was just like mixing and like recording wise, it was just like executed poorly.
Interesting. Yeah. I was actually pretty impressed with like the synth pad lushness going on in here too.
I liked it. Yeah, those sounded really good. And then that was like my problem with like how the drums sound. It was just like one room mic. And then like this DI acoustic guitar.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of like, I wrote that and I kind of was like, I was a little irked about the mess up there. I don't know.
Yeah, and
you don't come across a lot of that.
No,
in, like a record.
yeah, like it was like sometimes like I've pointed stuff out and you're like, I'm not sure if that was a mess up or if that was just like a weird moment in like the MP3 or whatever. But this mess up was kind of it was very noticeable.
But flagrant.
Yeah.
You want to go on to the next track? Life in the Pods.
Okay. So here we have kind of like a dream pop post rock vibe.
Yeah.
The drums still have that tin can sound.
Man, I have these drums are loud AF.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's no more drums, everyone. This guy took all the drums for this record. But there is some intriguing ideas that are kind of fun to listen to.
Yeah, I really, again, like the ideas and like concepts and like some of the melodies and like technical stuff is like really cool.
Yeah. I've continued here. Like, I think they decided we wouldn't notice that this is kind of just a bad jam session that is going on here. And but it is starting to show the post-rock influence.
Yep.
It was kind of floundering in a weird spot there between jam session and bad live show jam session, and now we're kind of okay. Now this is starting to sound more like an album.
Yeah, I'm glad that this song specifically had like the kind of the two parts. It kept it interesting for me.
Yeah, it did. It kind of has another bad mix, of otherwise kind of interesting music.
Man, the difference in the fidelity of like the synths and like the drums was really like
pronounced.
It was so pronounced I couldn't like get into it. And this goes back to what we talked about with Dreaming in Paradise. Is like the cohesiveness is such a big part of it.
Yeah,
from making it music to like a song.
Right, and that's just mix.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to call that is mix. And it's such a simple term for something that like it encompasses a lot of different concepts. Is this kind of like emo, instrumental, post-rock, Daddy Got a Brand New Keyboard music?
Yeah, for sure.
I write, maybe I will enjoy this more if I'm high. Let's find out.
Okay.
And then I puffed a little bit here because I was like, you know what? Maybe this will help.
I should have done that. All right.
So let's move on to the next track.
The blue.
And I did stop the music here, and I just wanted to come back with a new opinion on it.
Blue Rose.
So the Blue Rose, some nice ambient here.
I just have like a nice little instrumental track. It's short, which is nice.
Glad that was short.
You know, just like
this is like my least favorite music to talk about. And I feel bad about that. I've been in bands like this, you know. I would say to a certain extent. I played with X-Punk in Subtle Bodies. And we were you know, a very, I think, similar band to this, both genre wise and kind of like philosophy of making music wise too.
It's hard to like really stand out and like with instrumental music, because like the voice is such it's so personal, you know. And so when you're just using guitars, which anyone can own a guitar, anyone can play guitar or drums and stuff, and if you are just, unless you have like a really distinct style, it really requires some actual like songwriting skills. Yeah.
Want to go on to Metropolis, track 5? These drums sound bad.
The drum sound now is like, it's distracting. It's more than distracting at this point. It's just like, I don't know why they kept on going with this.
I think I need to hear it in higher fidelity to say anything about these drums with certainty.
Yeah.
So like listener and like you, take everything I say about it with understanding. I'm only like 70% confident in my assessment of these drums. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I feel like Bandcamp's MP3-ness on this is not helping this music.
I really think it was just like the drums were recorded with like one room mic, and that was it.
I do kind of like this though.
Yeah, again, it's more in the dreamy shoegaze post rock thing, and like
I think I write a few times like I kind of like this. Do you think, here's a good question that we can ask in future episodes, do we think that these two artists would like each other's music?
I think so. I think, or at least I think they would appreciate it.
That's another good one I think we can ask. Like,
that's
every
a great
time.
question.
Is like, do we think that they would like each other?
Yeah. I think that Dreaming of Paradise would maybe like Serialism, but I think this Dreaming of Paradise might be a little too harsh for Serialism. And
really,
yeah,
I don't know, because X-Punk seemed to be pretty like heavy.
That's true.
You know, I think people who like heavy music also like industrial. They think they like that more than other dance music.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess I just don't know either Josh or Jeff, well enough to really make an assessment outside of speculation. Back
to the song, I was like that was fine.
I think with this one, actually, the drum sound, it is distracting, but I think like it kind of works in this song a little bit in the way that like it works for like Bedhead or like Karate. You know, kind of that like it's like the lo-fi sound goes with like the sparseness a little bit, but
it's a hard instrument to record, drums.
It's so hard.
I don't really have any. I'm never going to have advice for anybody of being like, here's why your drums sound bad and what to fix, because I am 100% lost.
If I get a decent drum sound, it's pure luck. Pure luck. Like I just happen to play.
That's how they used to do it
somewhere.
That's why some of those drummers that died young, they had a lot of luck, but they used it all up. So it's fine. This sounds a lot like Tortoise, but some of the Tortoise stuff that I'm not as into.
It's not jazzy like Tortoise is, and like I think Tortoise has like a little more, I guess, like movement and like kind of emotion. I think at times.
Yeah. Is this the really long one?
Yes.
Metropolis?
No, the really long one is the next one, Fever Dreaming.
Okay, I think I'm ready to go to that one if you are. So right away, I think I wrote nice keyboard sounds on the last one, and I start listening to this, and I say, oh shit, this is 9 minutes long. I'm going to give this a couple minutes, and I'm going to change if I don't like where it's going.
For sure. I think this I have the note of like similar vibe to the first song in like terms of how to review it. Like if we're just reviewing it as like a song, like it's really difficult to like, because I think it requires you to just kind of like treat it almost like background sound in a way, or just like have it be an accompaniment to your state of mind, I guess. And
Yeah.
I can't do that when I'm trying to like dissect like motivations and influences and
Right.
stuff. And so I just like
Maybe like with records like this in the future, we have to like give it 2 listens, one where you're just like laying down or something.
yeah. And I think like overall the whole track is like not cohesive at all in terms of mixing. Like there was a lot of weird kind of, I don't know, it was just like, if again, it felt like just like sounds added on and not like part of the song.
I just changed my pants mid-song. I just thought for comfort reasons, I changed my pants.
Okay.
And then I like kind of skipped around. I skipped around, and it just kind of was not really like my thing. And I like I said, I used to be in a band like this, and I know exactly what they're trying to pull. And like, I don't hate like releasing whatever you want, but
Yeah.
I think from a critical standpoint, I got to talk about and confront the things that I think are weak about it.
Yeah, and I think like it is possible to make like a long kind of drony, samey song really good. I think like Dode Calm did a really good job with their like slow song.
Definitely. I think the problem with this kind of music to me is like when everyone's not like reaching for the stars in their musicality or something, it might come off as like just what's going on here. You're just kind of diddling around. You know what I mean? Like a really, really good like a lot of something seems somewhat improvised, and a really good or talented improviser will be adding like melody and rhythm in appealing ways, you know. And there needs to be like some more like stuff like behind it than just like a couple dudes banging on stuff or whatever.
Right.
For me.
Yeah, I think, and maybe this is just like to the point of like just beginner kind of thing. Like it's just maybe their recording chops are not just there yet for this, but I think for something that is like going to be a soundscape, it does require like better fidelity, better texture.
I'm taking more issue with like I'm setting those things aside and saying the composition here is there's just nothing there. You know, it's just like a couple of dudes diddling around on some guitars, you know, and I think it's just lack of like wanting to understand music theory or lack of some training,
or
you know?
maybe just like not having like a solid idea set and just, you know, like putting down something, you're jamming and you're recording it and you're like, actually this sounds good, I'm gonna jam on this for a while, and then you just keep it.
Yeah, and I mean there is music that is like that exists, but it exists like more in like jazz, you know, realm of stuff or whatever, or even some electronic music. But it's because there's some understanding of like, how do we make this a thing that we're like trying to do? And I do wonder if it's more lack of focus or just like there is no idea, you know?
Yeah, it's just sound.
And that's gonna be hard
riffs.
to be hard for me to appreciate a little bit.
Yeah.
And some of it's hard to listen to.
Yeah, like there was some, again, like it was just like a mixing thing. There was like some peaking that I was hearing or other stuff, but
yeah. I've written meh on here too, and that's not the best feeling either.
Right.
But it's better than me disliking it. But I'm starting to feel more meh about this release here. You want to go to the next track?
Yeah.
Meat Hands.
Meat Hands. I just, you know, it's just like I guess this is the one political track, even though it's instrumental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is okay.
Yeah. It's just like, it's more kind of like the bedhead kind of sound.
I wrote Dan explain guitar. I'm not sure what I meant by that.
I think it was just well, let's take a listen real quick and maybe see if that'll spark
that sounds good. Yeah, there's gonna be a listen break here. It's like maybe just super clean tone.
Yeah, it's just like a super clean tone, and there's like some like vibrato on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan explains guitar.
I love that.
Is a good. That's a good solo show.
Yeah,
for
that
you.
could be some bonus content for the patrons.
So, at this point, I'm like, okay, there's some cool stuff in here, and that groove is cool, and that
Yeah.
groove sounds a lot like some early Tortoise stuff again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I want to look more into this band, and I write, holy shit, this band has a lot of music.
Yeah, they have a lot of music.
Holy shit, this is a Ryan experience scenario here, right?
Right.
There was like 30 releases.
It was quite a bit.
So, and I wrote, what the hell? I did not see that coming. I want to like this. I do not, though, overall. And this band has a lot of potential, but this record's kind of a head scratcher.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, obviously we can't go into studios because it's not safe.
Sure.
So, but man, like, I really just like could not get over the fact of the drums.
Yeah,
that was really.
And I had this could be good remix. I think like some elements of this could be good in remixes. There's some tape machine click at the end that like popped in my ear, and that I think pushed me over the edge of like I don't like this record anymore.
Gotcha.
And maybe I come back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I this is a record listener that I have not made up my mind at the time of this taping. As I say this, I don't know.
I think like by this point, like this is Meat Hands is a short song. It's like it's definitely like catchy. You know, it's got like cool elements. It's you know, it's like palatable, more listenable.
Yeah.
In a way. So
yeah.
It would be great with some vocals.
Sure. Yeah. Everything would.
Yeah.
We're probably always going to think that.
Yeah.
Except unless you're Earth Radio.
Yeah.
Then we'd be better without it.
Or Low Order. I feel like Low Order did fine without vocals.
Yeah. We should get him to sing though for all that stuff.
I would
somehow
kill. We'll just sing over it.
That'll be our Patreon award to him.
And I Believe in Julio style, just like
there you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's some experimental stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Like this is like I guess they would consider themselves experimental music, right? Maybe.
I guess.
What do you think they would describe themselves as?
Probably just like ambient post rock. Shoegaze.
Post rock seems like an easy catch-all for this.
Yeah.
Want to go to the next track?
Yeah.
This one's called Like Clocks.
This one, I think, kind of suffers from the same thing we've been talking about. It just like feels like an incomplete thought.
Okay. This one sounds way better. Way better.
I think like the sound is fine for me. I think it was just like the
my internet's being
composition.
Jank. Why? Shug? All right. This sounds way better.
Let me take a quick listen to this one.
Like Clocks.
Oh yeah, this is like heavy email right here.
Like the recording sounds better.
Yeah, I think the guitar sound really complements that drum sound.
Yeah, it's kind of a monocle moment for me here, though.
Right.
After, why does that sound better?
Right.
You know. Do we know when this was recorded?
No.
I think they reached out pretty early in the conception of this podcast.
They did.
Like I think they like may have reached out before it was even close to being done or close to the release or anything. So it was yeah. I don't know. That's the only note I have.
Same.
Monocle moment. That's it. Yeah. Want to go on to Sebastian?
Sebastian. All I have here is synth horns.
Synth horns.
Yeah.
I was like, I think that was better, but I just didn't get. I didn't get like distracted about it. You know, about other things. I wrote I have written here. HMMM.
I think like I like the idea of incorporating like a kind of like abrasive, like maybe out of character sound, but I think it was I don't know. I felt like the execution was like not there necessarily. I think I like the idea of like the one synth horn like droning and like building up. That was cool, like very Broken Social scene-y. But otherwise I was like, this is just like I don't know. Just a reason to like put that sound in a song just to be
sure.
I don't know.
Didn't like it.
It was just like I was just like okay.
Yeah, I liked it. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like the end of this record more than the beginning. It kind of won me over. That big 9-minute song, I think, rubbed me the wrong way, and that drum mess up in the beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you want to go? You want to go to the next track?
Yeah.
Moon.
This is the last one, right?
Yeah, there's another track called Moon from the last record
Yeah.
too.
A lot of.
Yeah, this is the last track.
I think by this point.
Oh, good.
I think that's by this point. I was just like, you know, I've heard what this record is, and like this is just more of the same.
I like the vibe here, and I like the vibe of this kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
But I unfortunately, I'm just never gonna like this kind of music the way I used to.
Sure.
It's just kind of a little boring, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I did kind of find myself having these I could do that moments.
Ooh.
Because I've been in bands. It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
And people who say this kind of shit are awful. Where it's like I could do that.
Yeah.
But I literally was having those feelings. And something I'm trying to do, like as an honest podcaster and like critic is like actually put down my feelings down when I had them. And I did. I had this feeling of like I could do that, and that's like not great. Like I want to see like a musician push for something that I can't do to give me a reason to listen to it. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Am I being too negative about this album? Maybe.
It does. I mean,
I don't know.
It doesn't really
It's not
matter.
blowing me.
You know?
It's not blowing me away.
I just think like, okay, so knowing Jeff, like I feel like this record really doesn't do his talent justice.
Sure.
Like I think like he's a better guitarist and even a better drummer than like what's really displayed here, honestly.
Right. Well, they'll probably come back with more stuff. I mean, how many records there was on there? I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I'm going to dive into that because there's probably some real good stuff on there, but I couldn't believe that. And it's funny because I really was like, oh, this must be like a new band.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I looked at that, I was like, oh, nope. No, they aren't.
Yeah.
And that surprised me.
For sure. So.
Any final words on this record?
I don't.
Yeah.
This one might be kind of in the Unscampy Valley. A little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is in the entry level of the Unscampy Valley. It's on the downslope.
Yeah.
So
did it get
but
there?
I think we got through it.
Yeah.
Did they get there? No. I don't think so.
I agree.
But in a way, because they have so much music, yes.
Yeah. I think
I'm gonna give them half. They got halfway there.
I can get on board with that. Like
sometimes you just put out so much music it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're just Frank Zappa and you just put out so much stuff that nobody knows where to start and no one can say shit because you have so much music.
Being like prolific is a really kind of a difficult thing to like talk about in a way, just because there's like a respect because like you can just put out content all the time, and that like I wish I could do that in some way, but there's also the side of like, well, you just put out everything. There's no filter. How long are you really working on this stuff?
Right.
You know, there's no possible way that everything is going to be good. You know, if you're just putting out so much stuff.
Right.
So it's a really weird place to sit in.
Yeah. Maybe it is though confidence. You know, maybe what we're perceiving as like carelessness or something is actually just confidence in what they're doing.
For sure.
You know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are just confident about what they're doing being right or being artistically good enough. They just do it. Do so much of it. And sometimes they are right. Sometimes they're 100% spot on.
For sure. I think there's like some people that like Ben Weisenborn was. I talked about a record with him, not on the podcast, just by like just some ambient guy, and I was like, "Have you ever listened to this record? It's so good." He's like, you know, I don't really fuck with that guy because he has like just so much shit, and I'm like, there's just no way that it's all good. And then like later on, I went back because I love this record so much. I listened to back to some of the earliest stuff, and I was like, this is unlistenable.
Yeah. There's a lot of that, especially like in electronic music.
Yeah.
There's some artists that are like, they have so much stuff and it's like, good luck.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's cool to have a ton of stuff to sift and choose from. I don't know. I think there's a band that has so much stuff to look into that any listener that's intrigued by this band, there's probably a lot there to reward you.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's plenty of goodies.
Maybe less so on this record.
Yeah.
Even though there are goodies in this record, and I think I half liked it.
Yeah.
Rating?
I'm going to give this one, I'm going to call it New Plant.
I'm going to call it the NHL hockey game franchise for Sega,
Nice.
but not the good years.
Right.
The one when they took the fighting away. Not that one. Yep. I know.
End of an era.
Yeah. This has been Band Scamps episode 12.
Episode
Can you believe
12.
that?
Wow. We're
This was kind of a long episode, I think.
yeah, I think we're after this we're going to be teenagers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we might be able to do some in-person stuff. We're gonna probably play it by ear and be real careful. And I don't even know.
Exactly.
I'm not even sure.
We'll have to play it by ear, and
Yep.
that's the best we can do. You know.
Yep. So stay safe out there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for submitting your records.
That's right.
We have a new episode next week. I don't think we've been talking about what we're gonna review.
We're going to be reviewing some Vivas's album Kriya and KJ and the Good Time Family Band's album Dynamics.
That's gonna be no. I mean, what's the next one that the listeners are gonna be?
That is
We haven't decided.
the
because we already taped that one.
right, but we haven't uploaded it yet.
Yeah, but by the time they hear this, we will have.
Oh, yeah, we haven't
We're living
decided yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go, listeners. That's how we live in multiple timelines over here.
Figure it out. We'll talk about what we'll listen next week when we.
But we want to thank you so much for sticking with us this week.
Find us on Facebook. Find us on Instagram at bandscamps_. Patreon.com/bandscamps to support the podcast. Submissions, comments, compliments, criticisms all can be sent to bandscamps@gmail.com. And I think that's all the things that we have on the internet.
It's a big list. They just keep making new stuff.
I know, right? We still haven't made a TikTok yet. I
Upload
keep
my
on
virtual
forgetting.
avatar to something that
But I will make a
gotta earn
TikTok.
points by doing dance trends.
We have the account, but I just have to make
We'll
an
get there.
actual TikTok video.
I've been your host, Julio Gomez,
My name is Dan Fisher.
and this has been Band Scamps episode 12. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
This has been a Grand Rhapsody production. Executive produced by Dan Fisher and Julio Gomez.